Hello and welcome to the Hive Mind podcast, where the collective wisdom of the travel industry helps you as travelers with the right destinations and the right hotels. I'm your host, Whitney Schindler, founder and CEO of The Hive, a platform designed to give travel advisors organized, actionable insights they can put to work right away. Each week, I sit down for focused, real-world conversations with travel advisors, hoteliers, and supplier partners who know these places inside and out. We break down how each hotel is best suited to a specific client profile, take quick deep dives into destinations, and share pro tips to help you make the most of the Hive. And here's the best part. You don't need to take notes while you listen. Go about your day, tune in, and know that every insight from these conversations is already captured and organized inside the Hive. So it's there when you actually need it. And if you aren't on the Hive yet, you can get resources from this and other episodes when you join our newsletter at thehive.travel/podcast. Today, we have a new episode of The Essentials, a deep dive all about helping you not just understand a destination, but feel it, the energy, the vibe, and the nuance that make it unique. Trusted destination partners share key details that matter most and help paint an overall picture that will inspire you as you present the destination to clients. When you bring a destination to life with confidence and clarity, you build trust, you spark excitement, and you make it that much easier for your clients to say yes. Joining us today to talk about Split, Croatia, and the surrounding Dalmatia region is Željana, the general manager of Dinaric, a DMC based in Croatia. Let's dive in. Željana, hello. It's so wonderful to have you on the podcast. Welcome.
Hi, Whitney. So lovely to be here with you.
Today, we're going to dive into all things Split in Croatia, and I'm so excited. And because there's so much in Split alone, but then there's just like 3 million options in terms of like day trips and what you can do from there, and how this can really like either kick off or bring to a close a really beautiful Croatian adventure. I must tell you personally, Croatia, still to this day, I've never seen more beautiful water. It was the first time in my life that I went to Croatia, and we were out on the islands and I saw the water and I was like, never have I ever seen water so beautiful. And Greece is up there, but I still think Croatia is superior when it comes to just the pure, like raw beauty of the landscape and the water. So I must tell you this, but as we get started, just to boost your ego a little bit, that Croatia is really it's really the best. But
Thank you.
I would
Thank you
also
so
love for
much.
you to tell us about your personal connection to Split before we dive in.
Yes. Thank you so much. Hearing things like this is really what makes our job wonderful and fulfilling. So my name is Željana. I'm general manager at Dinaric Adventures, based in Split, Croatia. Today, I will not just be speaking as a general manager of Dinaric, but I will also be speaking as a local from Split, as a kid who was born and raised in Split and who had Split Old Town as her playground, basically. I took my first steps here in the center of Split. I learned how to ride a bike here. So I'm very honored and also a bit emotional to be speaking here with you today.
This is really exciting. So we're going to start with the foundational information, which is not necessarily the most exciting or interesting, but it is really, really important just to understand how to begin crafting a really beautiful and also seamless itinerary in Croatia. So in terms of Split logistically, how do we get to Croatia? Do we start in Split? Do we end in Split? How do we get there from the US? What do we as travel advisors need to know in order to like get things started off on the right foot when clients come to us and say, Croatia, we want to go to Croatia?
Mm-hmm. Okay, so the first thing to understand is how small Croatia actually is. It's very diverse and it has a lot to offer, but it's very small. So we often provide our advisors flight connections from the neighboring countries, such as Slovenia, where the capital, Ljubljana, has wonderful connections with the
Interesting.
rest of the Europe, for example, which from where all major European hubs are wonderfully connected to the US. Dubrovnik and Split have direct flights with the US. Split just started this flight like 2 weeks ago, I think. And I think this is going to be a major shift for Split as a destination and for the region as well. We usually create itineraries with extensions to the neighboring countries. So people can either fly in Slovenia or Montenegro or fly out of there if
Okay.
they don't find a suitable connection with Croatia. However, Zagreb, as Croatia's capital, has also some wonderful connections. As I said, Split and Dubrovnik have these direct connections. All major Croatian cities are very well connected to all European hubs, and all European hubs have direct flights with the
Hmm.
US, so
Hmm.
it's very, very easy to reach Croatia and Split as well.
So Ljubljana is an option that I had never really considered. So if clients are not interested in visiting Slovenia, but they find that a flight works best from Ljubljana, then this could be an option to simply fly in and then be picked up from there and then kind of brought down into Croatia and just start exploring from there.
Yes, yes, of course. And
Wow.
this is also a wonderful option because let's say they are first-time visitors. They will most probably choose Split or Dubrovnik
Hmm.
or both of these cities to visit. But traveling from Slovenia down to Split allows us to show a different Croatia. We can
Right.
make a stop on Plitvice National Park that I believe you visited.
Yes.
We can have one overnight there and then continue towards Split tomorrow. This really shows the contrast, and we at Dinaric really enjoy showing contrasts. Croatia is so diverse and has so much to offer, so having this type of arrivals is wonderful to us and also allows for a slower beginning of the itinerary to the client.
Yes. So I'm having one of these moments here where this small but very impactful piece of information makes me want to go back 10 years, start
Yeah.
my business over, and approach Croatia a little bit differently because I have been to Plitvice and I loved it, but it is really far from Split. And
Yeah.
it seems like the options are generally a day trip, which is just like a 13-hour, really exhausting situation,
Yeah.
which diminishes how beautiful it is a little bit, or you're overnighting in a hotel that's just, let's just say, nothing to write home about, right? Like it's just not
Yes.
really. So it's a big. I talk to a lot of clients about Plitvice, and a small percentage of them end up including it when they really consider everything that goes into it. But the
Yeah.
Ljubljana to Split idea is perfect.
Yeah, yeah, it simply makes sense. And it's Plitvice is the largest, and I would also say the most beautiful national park in Croatia. So it's definitely worth seeing. But logistically, we want to set realistic
Yeah.
expectations from the client. And we have to
Hmm.
say that it takes 3 hours to get from Split to Plitvice and 3 hours to get back. And you don't want to spend 6 hours driving
Right. It's a
in
lot.
the summer.
It's a lot.
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah.
Okay, so logistically, this is exciting. You said that a direct flight from the US has recently started into Split. Where is it
Split,
coming from in the US?
New York.
New York. Okay,
Yeah.
perfect.
It's a seasonal one for now, but
Sure.
hopefully it will be throughout the whole year in the future.
Yes. Yes. Okay.
Yeah.
So talk to me about the best seasons to visit Split. Is it super seasonal that we're really looking from like May to September? Is it a little bit bigger? Is it year round? How often during the year do you recommend or not recommend coming?
Yeah. So basically the season starts in April, let's say, here in Split and Dalmatia. We prefer recommending shoulder seasons to the client. So either spring or autumn, because in the high season, it's much hotter. The crowds are heavier. The traffic is heavier. Logistically, it makes our job more difficult, but
Uh-huh.
also shows a different kind of experience to the client. So having spring and autumn as a season to visit Croatia, we believe is simply the best choice. Over the past few years, Croatia has become, the season has prolonged. It has now been starting in March already and going all the way until November, which
Okay.
is great and really allows us to welcome different clientele here, people who are willing to see something different, because when people think Croatia, they mostly think sea, sun, boats, but Croatia has so much more to offer. And
Yes.
this off-season period really allows us to show it.
Consistency builds trust, and the Hive helps you deliver it. With organized hotel notes and advisor insights, you'll always have what you need at your fingertips. Check it out at thehive.travel.
Yeah, so I would love to dive right into these activities and experiences. And I think that starting with those shoulder season activities, like this is the perfect opportunity to kind of for travel advisors to learn what's available so that we can paint the picture for clients to say, you can absolutely go in November. It might not be a water focused, sea focused trip, but here are all of the things that we can still do and kind of help to paint that picture. Let's
Yeah.
start in these shoulder season months where water is probably not going to be the
Yes.
focus.
Yes. Yes.
What are some of the activities and experiences that are most common that almost everyone will do, but then we can shift into the ones that are a little bit more unique and really more related to client specific preferences?
Yes, yes. Before I dive into this, I would just also like to clarify again the size of Croatia and the reason why we are connecting our experiences to the neighboring countries. So we all used to be one country and
Mhm.
our languages are so similar. And this pre-season period really allows us to show this as well to the clients. When the sea is colder, when it's not so appropriate to swim or take a boat tour, we love extending our itineraries, for example, to Slovenia that I mentioned, because Slovenia lives differently. They are more about nature. When I think Slovenia, I think about the color green. And in the pre-season period, when we have people coming here and when they are open to a different type of travel, we often connect this with the upper northern part of Croatia called Istria, where Croatia lives truly differently. Istria has the longest tourism tradition in Croatia, and
Oh,
basically Dalmatia learned tourism from Istria. And many people
interesting.
don't know that. Istria
I
is
didn't know
still
that.
very undiscovered, which is unusual because they started the
Yeah,
tourism here. So the pre-season and post-season period is perfect for connecting Slovenia, Istria with Dalmatia. Some parts of Dalmatia, for example, Split and islands. Last year we were still swimming in end of October, which is, you know, amazing.
yes,
November starts to get chilly, but the island life doesn't stop. You just get to see a different side of it.
sure.
Winters are long on the islands, and even though the season is long, the winters are slow, and that's when people start preparing for the next season. They step into this slower pace of life. They get back to their handcrafts. They paint. They create lavender products like essential oils, those little sackets of lavender that you put in your closet. The whole area lives differently, and that's when you can actually experience it. In the
Wow.
summer, in the high season, it's more crowded and people are selling the products that they created during the
Right.
winter. But
Oh,
during the winter, you can actually join them when they're preparing and when they have more time to tell their life stories, when they have
sure.
more time to open the doors of their homes to you,
Hmm.
or when you can have lunch with them, meet the members of the family. So it's a really um,
Wow.
different type of travel. So that's also one of the reasons we love this pre and post season period.
This everything you're saying makes so much sense, and now that you're saying it, it seems really obvious, but it's not something that I necessarily really considered before. That
Yeah.
like authenticity and high season really just don't go hand in hand. And I think that under the surface, I can feel that, but I don't know that I had words to describe why until you just shared this right now,
Yeah.
and that
Yeah.
makes that makes perfect sense.
Yes. Yes.
Okay, so can we talk about some like really specific experiences and tours and activities? So, in terms of coming to splits during the off season or during the shoulder seasons, um, are there walking tours? Are there cooking classes? Are there food tours? Are there dining experiences in unique venues? Are there hiking and biking and like tell me all the things.
Yes, there is everything you listed now. So, actually serves as a hub because it's just positioned that way. It's on the sea, but it's surrounded with mountains, which allows us to have all kinds of activities from one day to another. Today you could be hiking, tomorrow you could be visiting the island of Hvar. The third day you could be ziplining, the fourth day you could be enjoying a historical tour in the center of Split, and followed by a chef's table in one of the restaurants that we recommend. So diversity is the word when talking about Split, and that's why it offers so much to different type of travelers, and also people of different ages, multi-generational families, couples, friends traveling together, adventurers, people who are looking for just kind of soft exploration of the destination. Split being here where it's located, surrounded by islands and these mountains, has wonderful connectivities to the island. So there are clients who prefer having everything organized privately for them. Then they can choose, for example, to take a Colnago boat to visit one of the islands. Or there are people who prefer a more, let's say, local way of traveling to the islands, so they choose a ferry. Split has wonderful connections with ferries, catamarans, these private boats as well. So you can go visit an island in one day option. However, for larger islands like Hvar, we like to recommend people to at least have one a night there, because it's difficult to see such a large and beautiful island in just one day, especially if you're taking a ferry and you depend on the hours when it's not
Yeah.
a private tour. But when it's a private tour, we are so happy to choose tours that will click best with the client. So one of the questions that we ask when we talk about the client profile and their preference, are there any hobbies that they are involved? Is there some specific interests that they have? Because it allows us to see a broader picture of the client. It allows us to have a better selection of activities towards their character, towards their preference. And then the result is different. Then the person
Yeah.
is truly connected to the experience. For someone who is not into history and someone who is not into so much details, we provide a more soft approach, something more broader, something more adventurous. And it's really, really important knowing what they prefer. When talking about Split, we also have to talk about the hinterland area, where Cetina River is the center point of everything that happens there. It's a source of life of that area. It provides local community with water, but it also provides them with life, with employment. So many locals there are involved in tourism activities that are connected with rafting on Cetina River, canyoning as well, ziplining over Cetina River Canyon. And why we are also very emotionally connected to that part, because the founder of Dinaric also comes from that region, our Ivan. And our story is we are branded as outdoor luxury because this Cetina truly served as an inspiration for him to create this brand and for us to show a different side of Croatia. Because, as I said, it's not only the sea and the sun, there's so much more to do.
It is really inspiring. And also for me personally, I'm in this like really unique position to be in between the DMC and the client. And listening to you makes me want to like plan a return trip to Croatia right now, because I feel like if I came back, it would be so different than my first experience in a really positive way. And I also have like a little bit of nervousness because pulling details out of clients in terms of what they do in life, what they're interested in, what their hobbies are, where they've been before. I can talk about this for days about myself,
Yeah.
right? Like I can answer all of these questions about myself, but it is shocking sometimes to me how difficult it is to pull this out of clients,
Yeah.
which I don't know why. I don't know if it's a like a privacy thing. I don't know if it's we're just getting to know each other and I'm not ready to share. I don't know. Or maybe it's just that they're sometimes I feel like I ask questions clients that feel straightforward to me, like tell me about a trip that you've taken on in the past and tell me about the things that you really enjoy. Tell
Yeah.
me about the things that you didn't enjoy. And some of them are really like, I've never thought about it. And I'm like,
Yeah.
really? You've never thought, like, can we think about it now?
Yeah.
And so this is travel advisors like myself, like we're in this really unique middle position where when I have a client who will divulge everything, because some will,
Yeah,
tell you
yeah.
everything. And then I have this beautiful DMC partnership that wants to like fully maximize and customize everything. Then this is where the magic happens, right? And it is, in my experience, it is rare that I get like all of this magical energy coming together at the same time,
Yeah,
which
that's
is
true.
why I ask about specific experiences. I don't ask about specific experiences because I want a mental brochure of Croatia. I
Yeah,
ask because when clients are unable to share with me their preferences or their hobbies, then I try to flip the script and say, well, here's what's possible,
yeah,
right? Like we could do a cooking class where they take you to the market and then you go to a private space where you're able to go through the experience and enjoy like a really beautiful meal, and it's not in a traditional like kitchen or cooking class center, like it's in a local's home, and then I can describe that and then I can watch their reaction.
yeah.
Does that interest you? Are you really excited about that, or are you like, maybe tell me the next option? And so this is actually why I push so hard on DMCs, a lot of like, but tell me like the specifics.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Because that's how I'm turning around and using it, right?
Yes, yes.
So just a little bit of background context.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Of
You can
course.
do
No,
everything here, Whitney, literally everything, but tell me the things.
yeah, yeah, literally everything. As I said again, and as you just explained, these special interests are really important. And we also know how difficult it is to get this type of information. We've been lucky so far. The majority of of the advisors that we work with have clients for several years who have traveled to multiple destinations,
This
and
is
then
always helpful.
at
Yeah.
least they try to get some conclusions out of it.
Yes. Yeah.
But of course, that's why we always send like a 2 or 3 links with a suggested itinerary, something
Mm-hmm.
that can be shown to the client, something that is very diverse, where you can have a cooking class that you mentioned, where you can tell them, listen, guys, if you're willing, we have a local artist on the island of Hvar who is willing to open the doors of their home to you, who is willing to show you how they create their art, what inspires them, who can tell them your story, who can make a meal for you, it can be a hands-on experience as well, because
Mm-hmm.
very often people want to try doing things themselves. Of course, it's not for everyone. That's why the
Mm-hmm.
reaction is very
Mm-hmm.
important. And
Mm-hmm.
it's not always easy to get it from an email. So looking at this live reaction is always wonderful. Some of the experiences that truly stand out for our clients so far are these visits to the local families. When you come to Croatia, you truly feel tradition here. We are still, I mean, the population of Croatia is a population of Los Angeles. It's
Okay.
just to give you
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
a connection of how the number of people that live here. We are in Europe, but we still do not have this European fast lifestyle, the Western lifestyle. You know, our culture is still very, let's say, slow. We have this thing called fiacca, which can be connected to the Italian dolce far niente or the
Okay.
siesta, the
Mm-hmm.
Mediterranean siesta. And when clients come here, they really like to experience this, or at least try to understand it a bit. And what we've noticed after just 2 or 3 days of them being here, they really start, shutting down from stress, from fast pace of life. And these experiences with local families, with local artisans, in nature, in the crystal clear sea, they really provide this to our clients. And travel doesn't have to be complicated. It just has to be authentic and intuitive. And when we are intuitive towards people, it's difficult to make a mistake, basically. As you said, when you want to get a reaction, I have to say how difficult can be to recommend an adventurous itinerary to someone. People are always, okay, I love adventure, but I'm not so willing to go ziplining, or I'm not sure
Yeah.
if I can do rafting or canyoning. It might be too
Mm-hmm.
difficult for me. But what we always emphasize to the advisors, all these activities are created for the guests, not for the athletes.
Sure.
So we have people with children joining rafting. Via Ferrata is a wonderful experience. So Cetina River flows into the sea in a town called Omiš, and Via Ferrata is a hiking and rock climbing experience overlooking this part where the river flows into the sea and overlooking the city of Omiš. One day only, you get to hear about history, about nature. You get to get out of your comfort zone a bit, and that's almost transformative for the client. Not everyone is willing to do so, but those who do always come back. Always. We had people shifting experiences after trying this one. They were like, okay, we have some historical things planned for tomorrow, but can you do something more like this? And
Yeah.
that's wonderful to see. So Croatia and this region in particular, well known for the wines. So wine tours, wine tastings. The gourmet component is extremely important. The local dishes here are very, let's say, simple, but very rich in ingredients, in local recipes that have been kept for centuries, for hundreds and hundreds of years, transferred from the great grandmas to the grandmas to now to us. And what we see connects people a lot here is this dining part. Families gather in Croatia a lot. We gather on the weekends. Sometimes we also gather during the week. We know our neighbors well. We are still a community and our clients really feel it. And the best way to involve them into the community is to just allow them to spend time with the locals here. At Dinaric Adventures, each part of the team is also specialized in some area. For example, I'm also a licensed local guide. We have Vana, who is local from the island of Hvar. She knows every corner of Hvar. She spent every summer of her childhood there, and you can imagine what this allows us to do.
Of course.
Because we really want to show these hidden out of the regular paths, and that really allows us.
So if I told you that I'm not an athlete, but I do like to be out in nature. And
Yes.
I think that is also a good distinction of like sometimes I'm looking to be active, like increase heart rate activity. And
Okay.
other times I'm just looking to simply be in nature, right? Like just even for me, going to Plitvice is not an active adventure, but it's just really stunning nature.
Uh-huh.
How would you plan 3 or 4 days for me in the Split area and the surrounding areas?
Okay, so as I said, outdoor is what we love doing. So we always try to, slide outdoors somehow into the
Yeah,
itinerary.
perfect.
And
Perfect.
biking is a perfect mild activity for
Yeah.
exploration and also for increasing heart rate a bit.
Yes.
For example, I would recommend one day to be spent on the island of Hvar. Biking on the island of Hvar is amazing. You get to, for example, in June, when the lavender is in the highest bloom, you bike through the lavender fields.
Is it mountain biking or is it like road biking or
It's
what
road
style?
biking on
Okay.
e-bikes.
Okay.
So you can just easily switch it on and off if you want. En route, we love to make a few stops, either in a local winery or a stop to have a lunch near Stari Grad. For example, let's say we start the day in Stari Grad, take the bike route from Stari Grad to one of the locally owned restaurants. You eat your lunch in their field, basically. You can see their produce just next to your table, and you can see that they're picking tomatoes there, basil, oregano. Everything comes from the field that is just next to you, and it truly feels special. Then you continue. For example, there is a wonderful small town called Vrisnik, and there is a local family who has kept their house and their belongings in such a good shape, dating like 100 years ago. They show you how their great grandmother ironed, or how they preserved food without having a fridge. For example, they show you how they put the fish into the salt and how they kept it in a salty jar for a long period of time. They also show you how their kitchen looked like. It's like basically like stepping back in time.
Wow.
It's like I would say it's a museum, a kind of a museum, because you can, there are not a lot of places where you can find this type of things. And also getting to know them. People who live there now are grandchildren of people whose belongings we are looking at, and the stories they can share from their childhood and from the tradition. It's just amazing. So Vrisnik is very often a stop, and this place that I mentioned is called Terra Arhaica. Then we continue our way. Either it depends on the length of the route. We can continue all the way to Hvar, or we can, get back to Stari Grad. It really depends on the pace and the season. In high
Hmm.
season, it's already very hot, so we don't
Sure.
recommend having a full day of biking. It's always morning or the afternoon route.
Hmm. Hmm.
But then if it's a morning route and we have an overnight in Hvar, then we go to the other side of the island, to the town of Hvar,
Hmm.
where you have this fortress overlooking the town of Hvar, beautiful hotels to choose the accommodations from, amazing local artisan shops, small galleries that really present their lifestyle. And those are people that I mentioned you get to
Hmm.
meet in the pre and post season.
Hmm.
You get to do some things with them, like a ceramics workshop, for example, or lavender picking, or, something truly immersive that shows this, what this island is about.
Hmm.
Then, as a contrast to this day, I would definitely recommend choosing an activity that involves Cetina River. You said you would not be such an athletic type, so canyoning, I would say, would be for people who want their heart rate to be even,
Canyoning,
stronger.
like rappelling down a canyon. Is that what you mean by
Yes, there is
canyoning?
one part of the canyon of Cetina River where you do rappelling, but it's amazing because it's next to Velika Gubavica, which is one of the biggest waterfalls in
These
Croatia.
areas that you're mentioning, is this all in Hvar Island or this is somewhere
No, no,
else
this
now?
is Cetina River. This is inland Dalmatia. So,
Inland.
as
Okay.
a contrast to Hvar Day, this would be the
Yes.
second day of your third day,
So
3-day itinerary.
when you described the Hvar day, you would have it as a day trip from
It
Split,
can
or you
be,
would have it as an overnight.
we often have it as a day trip.
Okay.
It depends. There are clients who wish to do more each day and see more. And if
Hmm.
we have 7 days and they also want to go all the way down to Dubrovnik, we like to do this as a 1-day trip. If we
Okay.
have more days and the clients are not going all the way down to Dubrovnik, then it completely makes sense to have an overnight
Gotcha.
on Hvar
Perfect.
and do more there.
Okay.
Yeah.
Perfect. Okay. So we can go back to the river. Rappelling, and yeah, I've done this before.
Yeah?
Yes, I will do it if you tell me it's the most amazing rappelling experience of my life, but it's also something that like puts my heart in my throat. And I just, so, I'm getting to the age that I just start questioning, like, is this necessary?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. No, I completely understand. People who have done canyoning in other countries see it as a more adrenaline than it really is,
Hmm.
because
Yeah,
Cetina
yeah.
River is not so, the flow of the river is not so strong, and it's more appropriate even for, I mean, we have children canyoning here as
Okay.
well.
Okay. Maybe I can go with the children.
Yeah, the age limit for the rappelling part is 16 years though.
Okay.
Because, it's, as you
Yes.
said, it gets your heart beat
Yeah.
up, and you have to truly be open to this kind of activity.
Hmm.
But
Hmm.
for someone who wants something more soft, we have river kayaking, rafting, and that zip line as well. Um, Zip line in Cetina River Canyon is one of the biggest zip lines in Europe. It has 8 wires connected and amazing views from up there. So the only restriction here would be not being afraid of heights. Everything
Hmm.
else is super exciting, and we often include this zip line adventure in our fam trips because it's the type of soft adventure that is for a broader group of clients and something they're very often willing to do. So I will be happy to provide some videos and
Hmm.
photos of this zip
Cool.
line. It's
Hmm.
truly amazing. Yeah.
Amazing. This sounds fabulous. I love this itinerary that you've sketched out for me.
Yeah.
And
And of
I must also
course,
say it's very different. Oh,
yeah.
it's very different than the typical European trip. And that's what I really appreciate, is because other destinations can be very, very heavy on the historical walking tours, which are so important and they're so good. And
Yeah.
also, I am finding more and more that as clients are traveling more often, as they're traveling each year, that they are often or frequently like starting to look for something just a little bit different, right? It's not that they
Mm-hmm.
don't want to visit all these historical sites, but they're like ready for something different.
Mm-hmm.
And everything that you've kind of shared is just such a wonderful like proposal to share with them of why not go somewhere that is arguably more focused on the nature and the outdoors than the
Yeah.
history and the culture.
Yeah. Yeah.
Not
Yeah.
saying that there isn't history and culture. I don't mean to say that. I just mean that there's more outdoor adventures in Croatia from what you're sharing with me than I can find in
Yeah.
some other areas.
Yeah. Yeah.
As an agency leader, you know how much time gets wasted when every advisor is reinventing the wheel. The Hive changes that. It's your agency's expertise vault, capturing hotel notes, destination insights, and advisor experiences once and making them accessible to your entire team. That means less duplication of effort, more consistency for clients, and more time for you to focus on leading your business instead of answering the same questions over and over. Check out thehive.travel to see how it can support your team.
You know, history is important and it made this region what it is today, and we are deeply connected to it. But in travel, we feel like we have to find a way to show history in a different, to make them see the history, but from a different perspective. For example, when talking about Split and a huge history that involves Split, the Emperor of Diocletian and the palace. I mean, we had people coming here not being able to believe the palace is still standing here. I mean, it's been 1,700 years. It's been very preserved. It's under UNESCO protection. It's all wonderful, but Split is not. History is not something that you just want to be talking about like this. When we want to show the history of Split, we start the day on the Split market. We take people to start there to try some dried figs because that's how our grandma started their day back in the years.
Sounds like a great way to start the day.
Split Market is a very lively place where you can hear people yelling, you can hear people, trying to get a better price from the person who is selling. You can see people who are very quiet also as well. Different styles, so many colors. You have people who are willing to share their story with you as well. So again, everything revolves around people and around tradition. So history is just connected. When you are walking through Split, you are walking through history. So we start at the market, we go through the palace, usually every day at 12 p.m. There is a traditional klapa singing performance in the center of the palace called vestibule. So we try to make our route be there at that time. For example, love connecting sound to the town taste. So this fig that they tried, or sopanik that they tried in the morning, this sound of klapa singing at noon, and then afterwards the feeling of wind while biking through Split streets and going on a viewpoint called Vidilica, it's our way of showing Split. Not everything has to be facts and history and years. History and tradition is shown creatively through meeting people and through experiencing it with all senses.
I love this. I love it so much. And I think that what you're describing very much aligns with what I'm also hearing from clients of what they want more of. They can't articulate it as beautifully as you just did, but I can tell that it's what they're craving,
Yeah,
which is
that's
so,
amazing
so
to hear.
wonderful.
Yeah,
Okay, so I'm looking back at my notes. This has been so wonderful, and I feel like I can talk to you just about Split alone all day.
yeah.
In terms of, I mean, this is a really tough question, but we discussed at the very beginning logistically that a lot of people will start or end their trip in Split, which in my experience sometimes means that people try to not spend very much time in Split because it's like they arrive or they depart. And so they're like, see you later.
Yeah.
From your perspective, in a trip that let's say is maybe an average of 10 days or so, and it's going to be like the Croatia trip for 10 days, how much time would you encourage people to try to dedicate to Split and the surrounding areas?
Okay, so we have this kind of explanation for this type of questions. So we either have 7 days or 10 days arrivals mostly. And for 7 days, we don't prefer combining more than 2 locations. But for 10
Agreed.
days, we are open to having clients on 3 different locations. And then we can allocate, for example, 3 or 4 days in Split, 3 days on the island of Hvar, and 2 or 3 days in Dubrovnik. It has such a rich history, and it's an amazing place to see. But compared to Split, we always allocate less days there and more days in Split because there are so many options to do from Split, and from Dubrovnik there are not so many. Sometimes clients choose to extend their stay from Dubrovnik down to Montenegro. But then again, operationally, we like to warn people or emphasize that that includes border crossing.
Yep.
And border crossing can sometimes be a challenge. Border crossing between Croatia and Montenegro is very small, and in peak season, it can take several hours to cross that border. And this is just not the type of experience that we like to provide our clients. So we either recommend them to take a boat from Dubrovnik to Montenegro or just have more days in Split or Hvar instead of Dubrovnik.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
So in a 10-day itinerary, then what I'm hearing is
4 days of Split.
3 or 4
Yeah.
nights in Split,
Yeah.
then a couple of nights in Hvar, and then
Yeah.
maybe a night or two in Dubrovnik.
Exactly.
I will tell you that you're the first DMC that I've talked to that has suggested more time in Split than in Dubrovnik, and I think I totally agree with you.
Yeah.
I've been there, and I also feel like Dubrovnik is so incredible and it's so unique. And also, once you're there just isn't much you're doing once you've
Exactly.
kind of seen it. Like you
Exactly.
have to see it. You have to see it.
Yeah.
And then you can probably go.
Exactly. It depends on the traveler. There are people who just wish to relax more and
Sure.
enjoy hotels, and then it makes sense extending their stay in Dubrovnik. They have some amazing hotel options, better hotel options than Split, to be honest.
Yes, this is true.
Split is still growing, the hotel community, and the brands are coming in, but slowly. Dubrovnik has had a longer hotel tradition. I mean, Villa Dubrovnik, for example, Hilton Hotel, Excelsior. I mean, so many options with wonderful views, with possibility of true relaxation, and then it makes sense. But for people who wish to do a more active itinerary, it does not make a lot of sense spending more days in Dubrovnik.
To kind of just round out our conversation a little bit, what questions do you feel like if there are just like 2 or 3 questions of like if every advisor asks clients these 2 or 3 questions during the early conversations during a discovery call before coming to you and your team to start planning the itinerary, that would be super helpful to just create a more seamless experience, to customize it as much as possible. What would you say those 2 or 3 questions are that you would love if that we all ask?
Yeah, so apart from the regular questions,
Yes.
age group, number of people, and
Yes,
so on.
mobility, dietary, budget.
Yes.
Assume we've taken care of those.
Yes, so we mentioned it before. We like knowing their hobbies and special interests. For example, we have people celebrating their children's graduation. If the kid graduated from a college that involves architecture or something on that topic, we like to try to provide some kind of deeper connection to architecture. I mean, we can talk about architecture in Croatia for days. History is very well connected to architecture. And we had the reason I'm mentioning is this part is because we had a graduate who studied architecture, and we talked to the advisor and asked if she thinks that our client would be happy to meet one of the local esteemed architects who did some very relevant constructions here, and it turned out beautifully. We planned like a 2-hour visit, and they extended it. They talked for 6 hours. They had so many things to say to each other, and there was so much respect in both sides. You mean this was an older architect who was close to the end of his career, who has done so many things. And on the other side, there was basically a kid who just graduated, who had his eyes wide open, wanting to know more, listening so carefully. It was such a wonderful experience.
Oh,
And
that's
later,
amazing.
they said that this was a highlight for him, actually,
Wow.
because when you travel, you want to connect your way of living to the place where you're coming. So it's not just a way of living, it's the thing that you love working, it's the hobbies, it's everything. So this is what we like to know. And in terms of budget, people always say, okay, we either don't know the budget or they say which the budget is, but budget doesn't say a lot, actually. What
Right.
we need to know is how to allocate this budget, because we cannot assume that someone who wishes to spend 1,000 euro per person wishes to allocate the majority of this budget to a 5-star hotel. That's not correct, you
Exactly.
know? Sometimes people have their priorities focused on activities, for
Yes.
example. So they
Yes.
would rather have a chef's table experience, but spend a night in a 4-star boutique hotel. And that's
Mm-hmm.
really important to know, because if we don't match these priorities correctly, then we don't think they will feel like the budget they provided has met their expectations. And when we know these preferences and priorities, then we are completely on point.
Juliana, I know that I invited you here to talk about Split, but I feel like you're also giving a master class to DMCs because yes, I
Just
couldn't have
sharing
said
what
it
we
better
feel.
myself.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
It
yeah.
is it's this is what clients are craving, and I think that this is what advisors are craving, but it's not immediately evident to find like a partner who really understands that just because a budget is, let's say,
Yeah.
$30,000 for a 14-day trip, that sounds like, oh, this is great. We've got funds to work with.
No, no,
We don't automatically throw in all of the
no,
ultra luxury hotels. And
no, no,
this
no.
actually happened to me recently, like just this week. I knew that I had to share the budget, and I knew that the budget was high for the destination. Like not high, but like it was healthy, right? And it was almost as I was just predicting the future, but I said very specifically, they're looking for great service and comfortable hotels, but they are not looking for international brands. They are not looking for ultra
Yeah,
luxury. They are not looking, they want I said all these things, like they want them. And you know what came back? All the ultra luxury hotels came
yeah,
back. And I was just like, we have to try again here.
yeah. That's
No.
the biggest mistake. I mean, I'm talking because we learned on our mistakes, of course.
Mhm.
It's just it's a wrong assumption, and it takes a lot of time, because then you spend a lot of back and forth emailing. When asking the right questions, you save a lot of time, both to you
Yes.
and to the advisor. And I mean, you can have the first draft ready in a matter of 24 hours, basically, if you
And you can
have
have
all
the
the
trip
answers.
deposited in the matter of a
Exactly,
week. Like
exactly,
the
exactly.
the more kind of I think that you've described or you've articulated a really important nuance that yes, we want to know about hobbies and preferences. Yes, we need to have some sort of a budget to give us, a
Yeah.
little bit of guidance on how to build it. But that third kind of puzzle piece of understanding how do you want to allocate your is
Yes,
it
yes.
just the best of the best across the board?
Yeah,
Then let's talk and make sure that the number that you've shared with us makes sense for that, right? Or,
exactly, exactly.
like if it's not, then how are we ebbing and flowing throughout the itinerary to make sure that what we're building and presenting is exactly what the clients are looking for? Uh,
Exactly, exactly. And there's no forcing anything. I mean, there are clients who wish to spend 3 nights in Villa Dubrovnik, which is like the best virtuoso property in Dubrovnik, but who wish to self-drive, for example. They
yes,
love this
yes.
freedom of self-driving, and who are we to tell them no, you know?
I will say that I self-drove in Croatia and it was very
Yeah,
stressful and I do not recommend it. But some
that's
people
true.
love that.
That's true. Operationally, we always warn them that it's difficult to find parking spots, it's difficult to navigate some parts of Croatia. But after they have been warned and they know
Yes.
all the pros and cons, they get to
Yes.
decide what they want to
Yeah.
do. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Some of our funniest travel stories of like, I can't believe that happened to us came from driving in Croatia.
I can imagine.
Like today we can laugh, but at the time it was quite stressful.
I can imagine. I can really imagine.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah. It's part of the charm here.
I think that there's probably a lot of things that we haven't yet talked about, and I feel that there will be another conversation in our future. But just for the sake of moving along with our day today, is there anything else that you want to share about Split and Dalmatia and the surrounding areas that feels relevant to everything we've talked about so far?
Uh, well, I would just like to encourage everyone to consider recommending Split in this area. Split and Croatia in general is very safe destination. You can, walk alone in the late evening hours here. You get to experience a lot. You get to meet local people, and you get to be really warmly welcomed. Warmly welcomed is one of the feedbacks that we get from our clients the most often. Warmly welcomed, and I really feel that's the feeling that Croatia really provides clients. If they decide to come here, they will feel warmly welcomed. They will feel immersed in the local culture, in our gastronomy, in our people, and they will be kind of transformed after leaving us.
I love it. That's the perfect way to wrap up this beautiful conversation. Thank you so much for your time and for all the insights shared. And I really look forward to having another conversation soon.
Yeah, me too. Very happy to and privileged to be able to talk to you today. And we are here for everything you might need. We'll gladly share
Thank
our
you.
knowledge.
Okay, so we are back because we just realized that we forgot some very important information. So you mentioned short charters. So tell us what this means and tell us like how we can work this into an itinerary. And if it's what I think it means, I'm very excited because being on a boat is such an important component and
Yeah.
experience in Croatia.
Yes, that's true. So we love to listen to what our clients and what our advisors have to say. And what we heard a lot was, can we have a short charter, please, for 3 days, for 4 days? And it was not something that could be easily organized in Croatia. So last year, we decided to form our own yacht portfolio that can allow us to provide this kind of experiences to our clients.
And just to clarify, this would be a private charter, right? Like this is a
Private
couple or a
charter.
family or a group of
Yes,
friends
yes,
who
yes, yes.
wants what's the shortest? Is it 3 or 4 days?
Three
Is that kind
days,
of the
3 days, yeah.
3 days?
Yeah. I mean, it can
So,
be one day as well for somebody who wants
okay.
to have a yacht experience, but not
Okay.
commit to multiple days on a yacht charter.
And they're
But
sleeping on the charter, they're sleeping on the yacht,
yeah,
and it
yeah,
enables them just to island hop a little bit or make their way
exactly,
around.
exactly.
Because are the alternatives that are currently available, are they more like 7 nights, like they're just bigger and longer?
Yes.
Okay.
Traditionally, I mean, in the majority of countries, 7 days have been,
Yes.
a certain standard for charters. But these 3 and 4 day options are wonderful because again, for these contrasts, you get to show your clients a yacht experience. They get to experience 3 and 4 islands, which they otherwise wouldn't. And then also along the charter route, you get to show them experiences. Previously,
Yes.
we talked about Hvar and this biking, so they can come to Hvar on their yacht in a 3 day yacht experience, take a biking route, have lunch on Hvar, get back to the yacht, go to the next island, get to the next
This
experience.
sounds
And
magical.
we've been getting an amazing response and a lot of interest for this type of travel. And we will definitely be growing our portfolio of yachts that we can provide this kind of experience with. For now, we have 4 options. I will share our yacht portfolio with you. And we truly hope that this will become more and more common because it's something that truly allows. We understand that people who come from the US and Canada and places who are such a long trip away from Europe wish to see more things in a
Mm-hmm.
week. And this is
Mm-hmm.
what allows us to show
Yes.
them more.
So give me the like specific parameters that we need to keep in mind. Like, is it like Saturday departures only, or can you depart any day of
No,
the week?
no, it's a huge flexibility. That's why we've done it.
Okay.
So this allows us to be flexible in the approach towards clients. So they can either start on Monday, Wednesday, or Friday, depending
Okay.
on the availability of the selected yacht. It also, having our own portfolio really allows us the flexibility because now we know the crew. When we charter a boat through a charter company, we are not personally involved to the crew or the
Yes.
captain or the
Right.
owner. And this way we are. And then they're like an extension of our vision of how this trip
Yes.
should look like. And then
Yeah.
we can have more flexibility in planning the stops. They can know how to feel our clients the way we feel. And then it's a whole different story, you know? So it's completely new level.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I know that this question is always really hard, but what kind of investment spectrum or level do we need to keep in mind to make sure that that if a client is interested in this, that their vision aligns with also what they would like to invest? Is it
Mm-hmm.
generally priced per person, per day, the size of the yacht,
Mm-hmm.
the fuel charge? I mean, yes is the answer to all of these questions. So how can we discuss a
So,
budget range with clients for
yes.
this type of
So
experience?
say the base of these charters is our smallest yacht. It's a Ferretti yacht. Yachts are always chartered for the group. So if a yacht has 5 cabins and it can accommodate 10 people, whether it's 2 or 10, the price is
The price is the
fixed
price.
for the charter because it's private and you
Yep.
charter it for a day or 3 days. And
Yes.
in terms of price, we are talking about, let's say we're starting with 4,000 euros for a daily charter for the
Okay.
smallest option, let's say.
Okay.
And then going up to, it can be up to 75,000 euros for the biggest one. So it really depends on the size of the group, on the style that they prefer, and other things. But it's always a charter for the full boat,
Hmm.
and there's the charter price, and then there's the APA. APA is the provisioning allowance, which is basically the cost of everything, the fuel, the food that is supplied to the yacht for this period, and it's always calculated separately from the charter
Hmm.
price.
Hmm.
So these are the two main things to keep in mind when
Okay.
presenting yacht charters to the client.
Okay. So the smallest yacht it has 5 cabins and can accommodate 10 people. What's the capacity of the other yachts? You said the one that's 75,000 per day. What's the capacity?
So the one we started with has 3 cabins. The one that I said would be like starting with 4,000 euros per day charter, the base charter price.
Hmm.
Then we have that one is Ferretti that I mentioned.
Hmm.
Then we have, for example, one of our yachts is called Grace. You will see it in the FAM trip link. Grace has 5 cabins, and it's one of the ones that we love to recommend the most because it has unusually spacious cabins. Even the ceilings are higher than they are usually, and it can accommodate up to 10 guests.
Okay.
It has a crew of 4 members. She comes with a chef on board, and it's a beautiful option to explore the Adriatic in a yacht that is not huge, but is big enough
Hmm.
for you to truly experience a wonderful time
Hmm.
here.
Hmm.
And the charter price for Grace, for example, is from 45,000 euros onwards, depending on the number of days. Her short charter option is 5 days,
Okay.
not less than 5 days. Might be 4, but we prefer having 5 days. The reason why the first one can be chartered for 3 days is because we also adapt the itinerary to the size of the boat.
Sure.
Not every yacht is adequate for longer charters, so we chose the ones that are more adequate for short ones. So let's say an itinerary, a short charter 3-day itinerary with Ferretti would be starting in Split, going to Hvar, Šolta, and possibly a swim stop on Brač on the way back and going back to Split. So the island surrounding Split.
Right.
But then if you were to charter Grace,
Hmm.
then you would be able to go further south
Okay.
on your charter. So it's again about setting some realistic
Yeah,
expectations.
no, this makes a lot of
Yeah.
sense. When you
Yeah.
mentioned 45,000 euros, is that for the 5 nights or
Yes.
that's for the 5 nights?
5 nights.
Okay.
Yes. 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 It's again, it's from 45,000 euros, depending on the route, on the number of nights, on, different parameters that we need to consider when
Yeah.
forming the price.
Yeah, of course. And then the next yachts get bigger and bigger. How big do they get?
Yes. I will send you the whole portfolio link. Therefore,
Okay.
in our portfolio right now, Cynthia would be the next one. She's larger. And then after her, there is Seagull, which is, I don't think you get to see this type of boats often. It has a historical background. It used to serve during the Second World War. Afterwards, it has been used as a kind of a ferry here locally. And then it was bought and refurbished and transferred into a timeless this elegant yacht charter option that is white glove experience. That is something that really screams unique, from every angle. You will see. I will send you the link.
Wow, this is amazing. I'm so
Yeah.
glad that we hopped back on for a few minutes for you to share, because these
Yeah.
are
Sorry, I forgot it initially.
No, don't worry. This is really exciting just to know that it's possible,
Yeah.
and that it's an option that is clients are asking for, but that we can't always find. And so knowing about
Yeah.
it is really special. So thank you so much.
No, you're welcome.
Thanks so much for tuning in to this episode of the Hive Mind podcast. If you enjoyed today's conversation, be sure to subscribe so you never miss a new episode. And if you know a friend or colleague who would enjoy this, please share it with them. If you would like insights from this episode landing in your inbox each week, join our newsletter at thehive.travel/podcast. And remember, if you'd like to contribute to a future episode, whether it's sharing your destination expertise or your experience touring hotels, just head to thehive.travel/podcast to learn more and express your interest. We'd love to have you join the conversation. Until next time.